Well, welcome to the post show. Ratso, you're back. Yeah. Well, so why are you here? Well, I heard you're going to talk about RVs. Yeah, of course I'm going to talk about RVs because that's what Joe asked for a few weeks ago. But I'm also going to talk about flying a drone. What? Flying a drone. Drones are these little like planes like with multiple wings, and you soar in the sky and you can take pictures of everybody down below. That sounds scary. Well, it was scary. I mean, I flew the drone. We're going to talk about that tonight for the very first time. I took over that with a supervisor, a mentor, and it was amazing. And we're going to talk about that tonight. So, can I fly it? No, you can't fly the drone. It's not my drone. And if I got a drone, I don't know. Yeah. You said you're going to talk about mentoring tonight. Yeah, I did say I was going to talk about mentoring tonight. So what? You need the mentor me. Why would I mentor you to fly my drone? Because you're a mentor. Oh, okay. So, Ratso, I know that's pressure, but I don't even know how to fly a drone yet. It would take me weeks to practice before I could mentor anybody. Okay, let's do it together. Oh, yeah. Like you wanted to drive my car. Yep. I want to drive. Okay. So, um, what about if we got an RV? If I got a motorhome, would you like to drive that? Of course. Oh, can I go? Can you go? Drive? No, can I go with you? No, you're not. If I get an RV, you got to stay here and man the house and watch the house and take care of Zoe. Oh, Zoe, I love Zoe. She's so cute. Yeah, well, okay. So anyway, so say goodnight because I got to get on with the show. So you got Joe out there, you've got DJ Ware out there, you got who else you got? Freddie out there. So say hi to those guys. Hi, Joe. Hi, Freddie. Hi, Tony. Anybody else there? I don't see anybody else. Oh, it's Lieutenant A.K. Allen. Hey, man. How you doing? You're just a little weird. So, why don't you go check on dinner because we have a guest coming over after the post show? Oh, we do? Yeah. Jeremy's coming over, so that's going to be fun to hang out. And he is the reason for all of this suntan. So maybe we'll have Jeremy on the post show here one of these days. So, but we are going to have an interview with Jeremy Obrian. Oh, he's cool. Yeah, he is cool. So we're going to have Jeremy Obrian on the post show in a little interview that I have pre-recorded, and it's going to be a good time. So that is the chat. The what? The chat. I watch the chat because people are talking to me. I don't hear anything. Well, they're there. They're chatting. They're typing. Like with their hands? No, with their fingers and whatever else, a keyboard. Weird. So read one of those. Hi, Retso. Oh, hi. So see, you can read. Love you, bro. Look at that. Love you too, man. So they like you. So anyway, so I got to go. So can you go down and check on dinner and the burgers and make sure they're thawed out? Okay, I'm out. And don't start the barbecue. The last time you almost burnt the house down. Okay, check on burgers. No fire. Yeah, no fire. Later, buddy. Oh, now my finger hurts. Okay, anyway, so thank you for the shout out and all the love to Ratso. Ratso sends his love back, and only in the post show, though I did break a rule and I got Ratso out tonight in the live show. So for those of you that are watching this after the live, Ratso was actually in tonight's live show, and I don't know if that's the first time or not. I think it was. But tonight in the post show, I want to get personal. I want to share my drone experience. I also want to, because I really have told the story before, but I'm going to tell it again tonight. I think I've said hi to everybody in the chat, but I might as well put the chat on the air. And there's Freddie saying he's here, ready for the post show. Lots of stuff coming in, lots of comments. So let me do my due diligence and not be in this live show by myself. And let's pop some of these up. Let's see. Tony is here for the post show, and thank you, Tony, for being here. DJ Ware, here's the post show. Also, always enjoying watching Keith's stream. It's cool. Thank you so much, DJ Ware. I enjoy watching your streams, and the technology and the things that you get and understand is incredible. So, though I don't understand half the things that you're talking about, maybe that's true the other way around when we're talking about live streaming tech. But I love perspective and I'm trying as I get older to be a better listener and actually go and get outside of my comfort zone and watch some people that have been on my stream on their channel and learn something. So really cool. Joe is here. We should start a Ratso chant. Ratso Way from DJ Ware. Okay, Joe. Ratso, I don't know if you know, a number of weeks ago, Ratso said I was cute in the post show, and then he gave a shout out to you. So, yeah, I do have good looking legs, especially when they're not pure white and they have a tan on them. And so, evidently, somehow my legs were on camera, and I'm not sure how that happened. That's just a little freaky because I don't remember my legs being on camera. Did I get up? Did I do something? Okay. So before I blush, I'm going to go forward. Freddie says, Ratso, yes. A.K. Allen, my first was and still is a DJI Spark. Haven't flown it in years. Yeah, I remember the Sparks. I've watched the DJI drones every time they come out. I watch the videos. I've tuned in to Peter McKinnon, one of my favorite all-time YouTubers. Just love his style, his personality, and he's one of the guys, may not ever talk to him personally, but he's definitely been someone that I've learned from and been mentored by. Tony says he's got a DJI Mavic Air 2. So that is a great drone, and obviously they've upped it a little bit with the new Mavic Air, or the Mavic. No, actually, that's the Air 2. That's a great drone. Sorry, I'm not going to confuse that with the Minis or the Mini Pro, but we'll talk about what I flew here shortly. Tony says, hi, Ratso. Joe says, hi, Ratso, I love you. Ratso already responded to that one. I'll let Ratso, let him know you shouted back at him. Lieutenant A.K. Allen, Freddie, Ratso is the best. Yeah, and you guys heckled me into getting him to open the show tonight, so you guys get full credit for Ratso tonight. Again, I have to help Ratso stay a little in control by having this hand very close by, because you never know what button Ratso is going to push, and I want to stay live tonight. So, Joe and Ratso must have met back in the sewer, so they remember the days. That's good to know. So Joe has some history with Ratso in the good old days. Yeah, and I am really considering changing jerseys. So the story with Ratso is he's kind of scary without clothes. So if you've watched I'm not Peter McKinnon, if you've watched... oh gosh, why can't I think of it right now? The famous ventriloquist. Man, am I that tired? I'm gonna take a drink while my brain catches up with my mouth. Have you ever watched Jeff Dunham perform with Peanut? Ratso was made by the same gal who made Peanut, who used to make Muppets for Jim Henson, started her own company, has since then passed away. And her daughter, I believe, is still running the company. So Ratso was made by her, and he comes just like a rat, no clothes on, his cool little feet. And so having a jersey on him is very important. And many of you guys don't know, I spent a number of years, from third grade all the way to my junior summer in Pennsylvania. And so during those years, got a chance to watch the Pirates play baseball. They won the pennants back then. Also, friends and everybody around me were Steeler fans wearing Steeler jerseys. So as I was shopping for Ratso, after Ratso came in the mail, in his crate, so evidently she found him in one of these cities in a sewer, cleaned him up, sewed him up, and sent him to me. And so Ratso needed something to wear, and I found that jersey here locally, and he's been in that jersey and that gold chain ever since, though it's ready to be cleaned after all these years, let me tell you. So TVJ says, hello back to you. Tony love to Ratso. A.K. Allen, cool. Do you have Part 107 license to fly drones for commercial use? No, I don't. And that's one of the things I will probably be considering doing. So the drone I flew, let's just get it out there, was the Mavic, the DJI Mini 3 Pro, 249 grams, supervised flight with Jeremy Obrian, who is the general sales manager at this local dealership called Click It RV. They have 4 locations, so a shout out to them as clients. And I found out that he was passionate about drones. He flies drones. He races drones. He does all the crazy maneuvers with some of the smaller drones. I've seen him fly a drone in and out of the showroom into a fifth wheel, beautiful RV, luxury fifth wheel. And I use that as a video for their company, his footage. And so he has a license and he does all the flying for me for this client. And I actually hire other people to do flying with licenses other places. This flight was under 249 grams and I flew straight up above the sail and straight back down. And we are going to look at that video here shortly. The sun treated me well. Thank you so very much, Freddie. Looking very forward to the RV resale. We're going to talk about that here in a minute. My legs were in the picture before. Yeah, that was actually probably before I had a good tan. My picture of my legs in the still image. So good catch there, Joe. I was sitting on a couch inside a beautiful luxury fifth wheel and took that photograph for tonight's still image specifically. So good catch. That's where my legs were exposed. And yes, Peter McKinnon's channel, he actually has 2 channels now. One's called Pirate Life, which he does more of the fun stuff in his world, less about photography, videography, and his studio, more about his passions. And he's got some great projects going on right now. So if you haven't discovered Peter McKinnon on Pirate's Life, check that out. He even has some pirate wear, pirate rings. I don't own any of those, but he is a cool, cool guy. And he has well over 5 million subscribers on his main channel. And his new channel, Pirate's Life, is growing immensely. So a shout out to a great man on YouTube, Peter McKinnon. So I'm a big Edgar Bergen, Charlie McCarthy fan, and love that act from back in Broadville days and also on TV. And so if you don't know anything about Edgar Bergen, check that out. That's one of the influences on my ventriloquist history is those guys. Jeff Dunham is a great individual. Thank you for that help, Tony, when I had the brain lapse. Charlie McCarthy, I guess that was just a spelling change. No jersey in the rat department. I found it in the children's department, 6 to 7 months old, I think, if I remember, or more, or maybe bigger than that. 2 or 3, I think it was 2 and 3s. So, and yes, as long as the licensed guy is with me and in charge, and literally Jeremy Obrian is standing right next to me, and in the footage you're going to see tonight, he actually flinches because I'm bringing the drone down in the middle of the show behind the toy hauler that we used, and you're going to see the toy hauler where I had even that medical kit on when we were tearing the show down yesterday. That's exactly the same place I bandaged my hand as I end up flying this drone. And it was cool because, number one, because of the laws around here, we were in a fly zone that we could fly in. No airports keeping us from being able to fly. I flew pretty high. The goal was to not only fly the drone, but I also wanted a picture of how the RVs were set up because I was going to provide that for the dealership so they had a way to look at how they set up last time when they do their next show there. So we're going to talk about RVs here pretty soon. Do you bring the rat into the dressing room? No, actually, Ratso was not with me that day. So when I go shopping, I do not bring Ratso with me because I wouldn't get any shopping done. Between the people that would be weirded out and the people that would surround me, some kids are afraid of those puppets. A lot of adults would crowd around me, and I have done some live shows with people over the years, and people generally love ventriloquism, though I have not started a channel for ventriloquism because I have hardly enough time to keep this channel up and running. But one day, my grandson Dominic and I want to start a channel to talk more about those kind of collections, as well as I may have a segment on there with Ratso involved from the very beginning. So anyone who subscribes will be used to that. And we'll talk more about some of the stuff that I am passionate about that brings me back to my childhood. And that's another thing I have in common with my guest tonight, Jeremy Obrian, who will be on video. I did interview him this afternoon at about 1:30 before the live stream. So drove about 20 minutes there and back, waited about 35 minutes for him to be able to sit down with me because they're open today and very busy, bringing all the RVs back. And it was incredible that he could squeeze this interview in. So I do want to show that. But first of all, tonight, I want to focus on RVs. So let's do that right now. So if you have a pen and a piece of paper, let me have you write some things down. I did not do any still images. I don't have anything I'm going to put on the screen right now. In reference to RVs, I just really wanted to talk about the RV business. Now, first of all, I got involved in the RV business in 2001. We moved back to the Tri-City area. I had kind of ended one career because of health reasons and wanted to transition into something else, and wasn't sure what I was going to do. I answered a newspaper ad for a local RV dealership who hired me. I learned how to sell RVs. I entered the culture there. Though growing up, we camped in tents, we camped in pickup campers, and a number of times I had stayed in really nice motorhomes, really nice luxury fifth wheels over the years because of friends. I never pulled a fifth wheel, still haven't pulled a fifth wheel, pulled travel trailers, drove motorhomes of all sizes, even 45-foot tag axle diesel motorhomes in my career. I've sold just about every type of RV there is, under $450,000 retail. So I have lots of experience in the RV business. I've written thousands of deals. I have friends that have consulted with me about purchasing and selling the RV. I've helped people sell their RVs at home, as well as help customers decide if they should trade an RV or sell it themselves, because I really believe that my responsibility when it came to being an RV salesperson was to help people find what they're looking for. And obviously, if they're looking for an RV of any type and they have an RV now, we have to figure out if they want to exchange that RV as part of the cash value. Many people owe more on their RV than it's worth. So now they have to find a way to make that payment go away and have a new payment if they're going to finance an RV. So the number one goal when you walk into a dealership is to find a salesperson or a sales manager or someone you know or someone you're acquainted with that has that number one value, and that is to help you find what you're looking for. Most people are looking for a great price, a great trade value. They're looking for great financing. They're looking for a payment, but that's not what you go to an RV lot for. If you mix those things up, you're not going to have a good experience, and you're responsible for it as much as the RV dealer is responsible for it. That's true if you buy a RV from a private party. So first things first, you need to know what you're looking for. But when you walk into an RV dealership, right, this is part B of this equation. Part one is to know what you're looking for, or if you don't know, right, if you don't know what type of RV, if you're going to get a pickup camper, you're going to get a tent trailer, are you going to buy a travel trailer, a toy hauler, a fifth wheel, which is basically like a RV that goes over the bed of the truck, and a travel trailer is pulled behind the hitch of a truck. You could pull it with a Freightliner. You could pull it with a diesel. You can even pull lots of smaller travel trailers or tent trailers with SUVs. And there are some trailers out there that you can pull with a smaller vehicle. Most travel trailers are going to weigh over you're going to need to tow over 2,000 pounds minimum if you want to carry anything inside that travel trailer. A few exceptions out there, but if you want a toilet, if you want a shower, you're probably going to be in something minimum of a dry weight of around 1,700 pounds. So number one, if you don't know what you're looking for, you do know what you're looking for. You want to find a sales representative or a sales manager, the guy in charge of the salespeople, or someone you know that's connected that will be helping you find what you're looking for, that they genuinely care about that. Now, if you have a trade, right, something you're going to trade in, you don't have to just trade in a travel trailer. Tip number two. Let's say you have a motorcycle or a four-wheeler or a quad, basically, or a toy of some kind with a VIN. You usually can trade those in at a lot of dealers as well. I've taken trucks in trade for RVs. We have taken trucks in at this sale that we had. We took a flatbed in, so a guy had a flatbed hauler that he didn't need anymore. We took that in trade, and we even helped them do a promotion recently where they were taking tents in trade to get families that never owned an RV to bring in their tent with all the poles and all the stakes and trade that in on a brand new RV. And they were going to give them $1,000 value for their tent. In fact, I helped executive produce that commercial with a local company that they use to do all the video shooting. They shot with a Blackmagic Design Pocket 4K. They're getting ready to purchase the 6K Pro, and I just kind of supervised the script, helped find two of the actors, and helped give input for this commercial. And perhaps you'd like to see that commercial, just go to Click It RV on YouTube, Pasco, and I believe if you just click on videos, it's one of the choices there. So with that said, number one, find a salesperson or a sales representative that's going to help you find what you're looking for. Number two, don't make the trade or anything else the main purpose of your visit there, other than finding the RV first that meets your needs, and then you can trade something in on it if you want to have those things give you value towards the RV. Now, RVs recently have really gone up in price. I've seen like a 20% increase from when I left in 2019. But the good news is, tip number three is, it's now becoming, again, a buyer's market, not a seller's market. So the manufacturers as well as the dealers are now realizing that the current state of our world is shifting and changing, and that they're going to have to negotiate very aggressive prices. In fact, we just got a line at this dealership in called Black Series. There's some really cool off-road travel trailers, and they're made for off-road. They have extra propane. They have some really cool features, off-road tires, 2 spares instead of 1, because if you're going to go off-road, you may need more than 1 spare, and those have been marked down to what we call MAP pricing, and that is the lowest a manufacturer will let you go on a new travel trailer, fifth wheel, or motorhome. Now that changes when the new model years come out, but during that year, there's actually a price limit to what you can discount an RV. So if you think you can walk into a dealer and buy something that they've advertised for the least amount they could sell it at, you're mistaken. But that does not mean that a dealer is going to sell something. I remember some new cars that came out when I was working at a dealership that also had a Ford store and sold Ford vehicles of all types, that they had new rigs come out that they were selling at 50% over retail. So again, just because they are willing to negotiate, and that's the greatest thing about the RV business and the car business, is that it's not like going through a McDonald's drive-through, right? If you've never tried to negotiate a hamburger price in a drive-through, you ought to try it someday. They're not going to negotiate with you. I've never got them to. I can't even hardly ever get them to get me a manager when I'm in the drive-through because there's people in front of me and behind me. But there's lots of our world where they don't negotiate. In fact, most of the things that I buy for my studio, I shop around and they're all at the same price. So that's as low as the manufacturer will let them go, and they can't sell it for less. Now, they may be able to pay freight. They may be able to give you some kind of certificate, and occasionally the manufacturer lets them discount things. So keep that in mind when you're purchasing an RV or a car or a motorcycle. There are many places that will let you negotiate, and you probably already know that, but you may not have known about what we call MAP pricing, and that is the lowest that you're allowed to advertise a model year, a current model year of RV, and dealers are contracted not to go lower than that. But as soon as the new versions come out, like the new 2023s are starting to be made right now, there's going to be a lot of good buys in the next 3 months. And that's my next tip. If you are looking to purchase an RV this next 3 months, is the model year change. Now, some manufacturers change model years on January 1. So believe it or not, January 1 of 2022, 23s are already come out from some manufacturers. So there's some deals to be gotten during January, February, and March. There's some real good deals to come out in June, July, August, and September. And plus, there's some really good trade-ins that come during that period of time. And then there's seasonal shopping depending on what part of the state you're in. So again, so make sure you find a sales consultant that really is trying to help you find what you're looking for, and then be prepared to answer some basic questions, because if they really want to help you find what you're looking for, right, they're going to ask you how you're using it. Where do you like to camp? Hot weather, cold weather? What are you towing with? What kind of vehicle do you have? What's the rear end gear ratio? Do you have enough towing capacity based on the vehicle that you have to be able to tow the RV that you want? Now, do you realize that dealers are held accountable for what they sell you? So if they sell you a trailer because you say, I can tow anything with my truck, if they sell that to you and it overloads your truck and you're in an accident, that dealership could be liable. So now that doesn't apply if you pick it up with one truck and then go back and pull it with a smaller truck. That's on you. But don't expect a dealer of any kind of reputation to sell you something that you cannot tow. And tow capacity isn't just what the trailer weighs, right? Because it has a dry weight, just like a vehicle does. You got to consider the passengers inside that vehicle, as well as what you're carrying: water, groceries, clothing, boots, bikes. If you're doing a toy hauler, how many motorcycles are you going to put in it? So keep that in mind when you're walking into a dealership. They're going to probably ask you some basic questions about what you want, how you're going to use it. Are you going to do cold weather or hot weather? And I know there's some RVs out there that have 1 inch or just over 1 inch walls. And that's not going to stay warm if you're going to a real high mountain climate or cold weather zones. So keep that in mind. Lots of travel trailers in the years that I sold them, from 2001 to 2019, and then again this weekend when I was talking to customers, just because I was out there and I look like I know what I'm talking about. They don't know that there's trailers that don't have any enclosure underneath, and all the tanks, the gray tank, which is the water coming from your shower and your sink, the fresh water, which is your drinking water and probably the water you'd like to shower with, and then the black tank, which is the sewage. Everything you flush in a toilet goes into what we call a black tank. Many travel trailers over the years didn't have any protection underneath the trailer, and so they would freeze. And if they freeze, that's not going to help you shower. That's not going to help you if you want to put sewage in your black tank or dump the sewage out of your black tank. So keep that in mind when you're walking into a dealership. Now, let me share two more, and then I'm going to talk with you in the chat. The next thing I want you to realize is that you got to decide how you're going to purchase it, right? Because if you have a trade that's paid for or a motorcycle that's paid for and you plan to pay cash, people want to keep that secret with the salesperson, or they think cash has more power than finance. That is a urban myth. If you think that cash is king, you're not entirely correct. Though, don't get me wrong, if I was a salesperson and you walked in and said, Keith, I'm going to pay cash, that's great. If you pay cash, that's just as credible as someone who finances. The biggest difference is if you have cash and you find an RV you like and you have the cash to pay for it, including tax and license, and we agree on numbers, you're going to leave with an RV, and probably quicker than most people. So if you want to take fast delivery and leave with that RV, they don't have to wait for a bank approval, and you don't have to worry about getting turned down for a bank loan, because that does happen. And that's the biggest reason that a cash buyer has influence when they walk into an RV dealership. Okay? So if you have a trade and it's paid for, or you have cash, you want to let the salesperson know that, because that may influence what they show you. Because I've seen people come in and say they want to pay $250 a month, and I tell them I have the perfect RV for you. And then I'll ask permission. Would you like to see another RV that has a few more options? It's going to be a little bit more per month. Would you like me to show that to you? If they fall in love with that trailer, then I can later say, now remember, I told you this is going to be a little bit more than that $250 payment that you said earlier that you would like to have or stay in. That was the budget you set at home. Then they can make the decision if they like that RV enough to pay a little bit more. Now, someone that has cash and has a limit to the cash, I don't want to show them something that's even more expensive unless they specifically ask me. And then I'll say, would you like to finance a little as well as your cash? And now they're a cash down buyer, a large cash down with just a tiny bit of financing. And that happened all the time when I was selling RVs as well. But my responsibility was to try to help you fit your budget, find an RV that meets your needs, make sure it's legal for you to tow, you're comfortable driving it. And that was why I would say let a salesperson know ahead of time what the plan is, what you're trying to accomplish, because it may change what they show you. Now, the last thing I want to share is this. Just because you come in for your first RV and you think that you want to get a travel trailer, you may discover that a small motorhome, if it fits your financial situation, may be a better answer for you. And there is a difference between a travel trailer and a motorhome and how you can use those two devices. For instance, if you're driving, your wife has to get up to use the restroom. If you're pulling a travel trailer, you're going to have to pull over alongside the road, either use the toilet inside your trailer, get out of the tow vehicle, get into the trailer, use the bathroom, come back out, get in the trailer. But if you're driving down the highway in most states in the United States, if you're over the age of 18, you only have to wear a seatbelt when you're up front. So if you unbuckle it and move to the back really quick, it's completely legal, not necessarily always safe. But if I told you how many of my motorhome customers over the year told me stories of making sandwiches, getting ready to get the grandkids to bed, so they're all seat belted, but they went back and got the PJs and laid everything out, got them a snack, went back and buckled themselves in so that when they hit the RV park, the kids were ready to get dressed to go to bed. They were too numerous to even count, except for I did hear one insurance report that said this, true story. Someone in Canada in the motorhome set the cruise control and got up to go back and make a sandwich and wrecked the motorhome, and that's what he told his insurance agent, and they posted that story. So cruise control is not autopilot. So please, if you're driving a motorhome or you're pulling a travel trailer, never leave the driver's seat for any reason unless you're parked somewhere. So that's it on the first tips. Let's take some questions and some comments right now and see what you have to say. So Joe says, why is it called a fifth wheel? I think it's mainly because historically, because the truck is a part of the package. There's some states that let you ride in the back of a fifth wheel because it's hooked up to the axle location in the back of a truck. And if you have a short box, they make a slider hitch that will actually slide back. And they actually make fifth wheels now where the corners are concaved in so that you can still pull them and the fifth wheel will not hit your cab, even in a short box truck. Not a super short box, but a short box truck. So the reason they call them a fifth wheel originally was because the truck becomes that fifth wheel. And almost all fifth wheels have 4 tires underneath the travel trailer, 2 axles, 4 tires, and the truck becomes the fifth wheel. So that's the story I heard, so I'm sharing that with you tonight. What can I pull with a Toyota Tacoma? It really depends on what engine's in it, what year it is, and I would be happy, Joe, to you to give me year, make, and model. And if you know what your rear end gear ratio is, I could tell you exactly. In fact, most dealerships now, if you go there, they have a towing guide. TrailerLife.com offers a towing guide, and it will tell you what your particular truck can tow. And it even has these little letters inside the different weights to let you know that this one has to have this gear ratio for this tow rating, and this one has this gear ratio, has this tow rating. So we would almost every time be looking in that towing guide, TrailerLife.com, to decide what a customer was capable of towing with their truck. And we had all kinds of vehicles come in to the show, to the dealership. Sometimes they drove their sedan, didn't even have their tow rig with them. So they'd have to go home, take a picture of their VIN and send it to me so that I could look it up and see if they can tow the trailer they fell in love with. So where cars, the deal happens that day. In the RV business, if we had 50 buyers in a month at an RV dealership, probably out of those 50 buyers, 30 of them bought same day. And that means they did their research, they were talking to a salesperson, and they came in with their tow rig, bought everything that day. But rarely does a customer take delivery on the same day, because most dealers, the inventory stays a lot longer than like a car would on a lot. And so they do the pre-delivery inspection, making sure everything's working after the purchase, because they want to make sure that it's perfect for the customer on their maiden voyage. And I use perfect loosely because RVs are built on an assembly line, and they're built on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Fridays. They're built on hot days, cold days, busy days, sick days. And so something may not be perfect. And the dealership's job, based on their contract with the manufacturer, is to inspect that RV the day it comes in, to write down any warranty issues so they can get parts on order, turn in their warranty claims, and then also check it again before the customer takes delivery, put batteries on it, fill it with propane, test the generator if you're buying a motorhome or a toy hauler, and just make sure the water heater is working so that when you go for your first camping trip, everything is working well for you. And in most cases, my customer's maiden voyage was without any major issues, with some exceptions. But at the same time, I also told them if you find anything wrong, that's why the manufacturer has a 1-year warranty and a 90-day warranty on basic things like knobs and things that you're opening and closing all the time. Most manufacturers only cover those wearables for 90 days, but the manufacturer will cover the warranty for a year, as well as the manufacturers, like a refrigerator, may have a 3-year warranty on it. So with that said, Joe Technologies, a pop-up. Yeah, you could probably tow a tent trailer, but there's also some small little trailers, like R-Pod is one of them. Forest River makes an R-Pod. It's very popular in the Northwest. I might as well do some interaction here. So R-Pod by Forest River. So let's see if I can get this to pop up here. So I'm going to go ahead and change screens here. Let me take this off the air. Chat off the air, and let me do this, me and my desktop. So this is Thor. They're one of the manufacturers, one of the major manufacturers, and then there's Forest River. They're the two biggest conglomerates, though there are lots of other manufacturers of RVs. There's small mom and pop manufacturers. There's manufacturers in Canada, manufacturers in the United States, manufacturers overseas. Europe's really popular in small vehicles, especially small motorhomes built on Mercedes chassis. But this is a toy hauler by Thor, and Thor has lots of different RVs. They have RV basics, so they talk to you about different RV basics, about Thor, sustainability. They have investors, and then they have an RV finder. And so you can look at all these different RVs. You can browse by company. But this is a great page to go to. It's storeindustries.com /find my RV /guided. You can see it right up here. And then you can do towing and driving. And they made this for first-time RV owners. And I love this site. If we also go back here a couple pages, and let me type in Forest River. See if I can get Forest River to come up. You see, because I've been working with Click It RV, their page came up right now. So I'll go ahead and show you their website. This is their main website. And then on the top, they have different locations. I've been helping the Tri-City location. And here's a list of their inventory. So you can go through here and see new and used inventory. And they had 100 approximately RVs. Now they're up to about 150 since we started with them, because my friend is also very connected with manufacturers and reps across the United States. So he's been contacting them and signing them up as new products. So again, you got B pluses, you got Class A, Class Cs, you have travel trailers, fifth wheels, tent trailers, toy haulers. And again, a toy hauler is designed for you to be able to put things in the back of it. So if we click on this gigantic Heartland here at 2002 and we scroll through the pictures, you can see there's a garage back here where you could potentially put a razor. So that's why people buy toy haulers. There's a garage separated from the main living space. That's why a lot of ladies want their husbands to buy a fifth wheel toy hauler, because they're bigger, because big trucks can tow more. And you can also keep them a little bit shorter when you're going down the highway, because part of the fifth wheel is over top of the truck, where a travel trailer is all behind the truck. So a 35-foot travel trailer and that same pickup truck is going to be longer than a 35-foot toy hauler and a pickup truck, because again, they mount back by the axle in the back of the bed of the truck, which means you can't have a canopy on your truck if you're going to tow a fifth wheel. You don't have to have a hitch in your truck, because they make a ball mount called a ranch hand adapter that flips over, and you can hide it in the bed of your truck when you're not towing. And then you can put a ranch hand adapter like farmers do on the fifth wheel. And then you just lower that down onto that ball and you go down the highway just like you would if you were a farmer pulling a hay trailer. So again, that's a toy hauler. They make small travel trailers as well. And so if you back out of this, you can search by travel trailer, even these destination trailers. So when you get into travel trailers, you have these new Black Series, which is what just arrived. And this is a little pop-up trailer. No, they're not light, but they're very small. This is the little HQ12 model. You can see what it's priced for. They're not cheap. You have a $16,000 discount. So we've lowered our prices on this new product that just arrived all the way down to MAP pricing when I say we, because I am consulting with them. So I'm using that first person pronoun with them. And so that's what you can. So you can already buy this brand new trailer that just arrived days ago. I think these arrived on Thursday, and this was at that show. And you can already get a $16,000 discount off of the manufactured retail price. So again, they make small trailers like this so that you can actually tow lighter than this with a smaller SUV. So hopefully that helps you out. Let's switch back here and turn chat back on the air. So TVJ says he didn't know that was the thing. Also, you don't like the fact they're sold by negotiation. No, you don't have to negotiate. In fact, here's what I say to customers that say, I don't like to negotiate. And I say, well, then write a check for what we have it listed at. And we don't have to do any negotiating. Because in reality, negotiating does not benefit the dealer, right? Negotiating really generally benefits the customer. So the dealer lists their price, their sale price. And then if you come in and get a better price than that because your salesperson or your real estate agent or whoever it is that's representing you negotiates a better price, then man, if you could save $1,000 more because you have a really good salesperson, and I could save you, let's say, another $1,000 off of that price, then that should be a good thing for you. I know a lot of people, just in fairness, are not comfortable with the whole negotiating process, and I totally understand that. I'm not either. I go in and pay whatever the sale price is. That's true at Walmart. That's true at Best Buy. That's true when I'm buying online. That's triply true when I go buy a car. I just pay whatever the sale price is because I don't like negotiating, but I negotiated for customers all the time, and I know how to do that to benefit them. It does not benefit the dealership unless I make them a sale and they actually make some money. Then that's a benefit to them. But saving you money from what they have the price at basically benefits you. What benefits them is if that becomes a purchase. They're happy, you're happy. And the definition of a good deal, write this down, is both parties perceive greater value. That's the definition of a good deal. Both parties perceive greater value. So again, I teach this stuff. I train salespeople. I teach my friends how to purchase. It should not be something you're uncomfortable with. If you do, number one, go in and find a salesperson that's there to help you find what you're looking for. They really do represent you, and then they have to negotiate with the dealership for you on your behalf. And typically, most salespeople, unless they're new, don't make any money unless they earn your business for that dealership. So just keep that in mind and let them work for you and communicate with them so that they can go best represent you. So if you hide facts from them and then bring them up at the very end, you've only pretty well self-destructed your deal. You haven't helped your deal at all. Like, I've had customers not tell me they have a trade and they owe too much on it until we're all done negotiating on the trailer they're buying. We sit down to do payments, and then they look at me and say, well, I need you to pay off my travel trailer. And I go, I don't even know you had a travel trailer. Well, we're not buying this one, Keith, unless you pay off our old one. And I have to start again at the very beginning of the negotiations because it makes no difference at that point. They told me they can't get a new RV and a new payment until the old payment is gone and that travel trailer is gone. And most of those customers end up leaving that dealership mad at the dealership because they didn't get a good deal. And it has nothing to do with the dealership at all because they never told them the information that they needed to structure the payment on the new RV. They didn't know that they were having to pay off a trade. So again, keep that in mind when you're going to approach a dealership with a trade, that you want to let them know at some point that you have one. Is it paid for or not paid for? Are you going to pay cash or are you going to finance? Because that may change what they're able to show you because you're not stuck in a specific cash budget and they got to calculate tax and license and all that in and make sure they find a perfect RV for you. So yeah, it does make a lot better sense if you do your research and you already have one picked out, you know that it fits your budget, especially if it's cash. Then you just walk in and make sure you get a salesperson that's going to take care of you during and after the sale, and even at the meet and greet, that they genuinely care about you. So my grandparents paid cash for cars, and they usually got a deal or extras for free because they were paying for cash, but they were usually dealing with smaller dealers. Yeah, I'm not saying that they're not going to negotiate with cash, but I've seen it both ways. So if they're always going in and paying cash and that's how they negotiate, it's hard for them to know what they would have got if they financed. So now let me ask this question. So in fact, if someone wants to ask this question in the chat, it would really help because I want to answer it. And the question is this: what advantage is there if someone finances an RV over someone that pays cash to a dealer? So if someone asks that question, types it in the chat, I would be happy to answer that question at that point because some people are going to be watching this later. And TVJ says he wants a big Class A. And yeah, there's huge advantages to a big Class A. He says, my in-laws have a 37-footer with a washer and dryer. And yeah, I actually was in a Winnebago tour, 2013. It was 42 feet long, had a tag axle, a 450 Cummins engine. It has a great floor plan, dark cherry wood. You have to like that. Again, the engine's in the back, not in the front. And I sat in that and talked to a couple customers, and I would want a big motorhome. Maybe it doesn't have to be 42 feet long, but that tag axle, which means it's got 6 tires underneath it, drives a lot nicer than a 42-foot motorhome that does not have a tag axle under it. So again, and 450 Cummins engine, and that Allison transmission, when you get on the highway, is just silky smooth and so easy to head down the highway, even if you're towing a vehicle behind you. And I know people that tow a 10,000-pound toy hauler behind them in a motorhome like that. So 4 slides, washer and dryer, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful motorhome, tile floor, beautiful ceiling, and just an amazing floor plan. And so it's cool. Thank you for asking that question, Tony. Is there an advantage to paying cash over financing? So paying cash over financing, the advantage is you're going to be able to walk out that day with an RV, and you don't really have to worry about financing, the bank saying no, asking for income, asking for you to write down, let the salesperson know how much income you have, especially retired people that are living off of fixed incomes or a retirement fund. They have to show proof of income from the retirement funds, because that's just what banks demand if they're going to give them a loan. So the advantage of cash, number one, is you don't have to go through all of that. Number two, it's easier for the dealership to process that. The disadvantage is a lot of cash buyers don't purchase warranties. And let me just tell you this, you may have had someone tell you in your lifetime never to purchase a warranty ever, just fix things on your own. But imagine if you don't have the income or the money set aside to fix a 450 Cummins diesel engine or an Allison transmission, right? Or if the airbags or something goes wrong with the motorhome, or the generator stops and you love to go off the grid with your big motorhome. Warranties purchased cover vehicles usually for 7 years, 5 years typically if it's used, and 7 years if it's new. And the reason it's 7 is a lot of the appliances are already covered for more than a year. So you got the so 5 plus 1 plus a lot of the appliances. So they can provide you with a a longer warranty on a new rig over a used rig. So the advantage is you can get more people to understand the value of a warranty if they're not paying cash. Doesn't mean you can't pay cash for a warranty, but most people that, in my experience, have less likely to purchase a warranty and just roll the dice and hope everything's going to work. And it's not true. The other advantage of cash is that it just kind of helps us understand exactly what we're trying to accomplish. And so cash with a trade paid for, or cash without a trade at all, is an easy deal. And most salespeople can handle that, and they don't get flustered. It's easy from start to finish. But a veteran salesperson, it's really no advantage, because they can walk you through all of that just fine. Now, is there discounts for cash buyers? Yes. Is there discount for finance buyers? Yes. So most dealerships make money also in warranties and fabric protection, tire protection packages, and they negotiate with these insurance companies for the best warranties, for the best packages. And Click It RV, as well as some other dealerships, already are paying for a lifetime warranty that covers a minor list of features. So if you buy a new RV, there are companies out there that have what they call a lifetime warranty. You have to get it inspected every year, and then those things are covered. Now, when you go into the dealership to get the inspection, they're also looking for other warranty issues. And you can also get an extended warranty to cover everything else. So the advantage of financing is that warranty, though it may not be inexpensive, especially on a diesel motorhome, a $450,000 motorhome, it may be easier to say yes, because you can extend the term out longer and add that to your loan, not have to write a check. So there's advantages and disadvantages, but to the dealership, more people finance, and they will be able to provide those warranties and add them into your loan. And they're going to see more people purchase that product and protect the investment, because even banks like to see you protect the investment. So they will finance a warranty if your credit score is high enough. And that's the other thing too, I wanted you guys to write down tonight. My last tip is this: it is easier to buy a car than it is to buy an RV. A car is a necessity, a place to live is a necessity. And so you can get a more expensive house or a more expensive car with a lower credit score than you're going to be able to get an RV. And the last thing I want to let you know is that more and more banks and more manufacturers are moving away from financing or warranting a full-time living client. What does that mean? There's some manufacturers that you void the warranty if you live in the RV full-time. So the reason you want to have an experienced dealership, one that knows the warranties and knows the manufacturers that have a warranty that covers someone who lives in it full-time. So if you're going to sell your house and live in an RV full-time, like many people have done in tiny homes and mobile homes and double wides and all of that over the years, you want to make sure that you're not voiding your warranty when you're living in it full-time. Because if you walk in to get warranty work and you tell the guy behind the counter, hey, we're living in it, how are we going to have you fix these things that are wrong with it when we're living in it full-time? They have to report that to the manufacturer. If they withhold that information, they're violating their contract with the manufacturer. If they don't disclose that you're living in it full-time to the bank, they're violating the laws in that state and their state laws that protect you. So the other thing I wanted to share is this idea of another tip. The idea of a 3-day right of refusal does not apply in most states in the United States, but in some states it does. And what that means is that if you went to like an off-site show like we just had, and that dealership has a license, you solicit them, you purchase an RV, you sign a contract, you hand over cash or you hand over a down payment, they get you the loan based on the rate that you agreed on. You do not have a 3-day right of refusal in the state of Washington. In fact, if you go to the Washington site where I live, it actually says to you that if you solicit this at a dealership and you go through all that process and they're prepping your RV and getting it ready for sale, they get you financed, they can cash your check, they can get that loan funded, and you will take delivery of that RV, used or new. And you can't just say, I changed my mind, I got scared and I'm not going to purchase that RV. So keep that in mind. Some states are delivery states that you have that RV has to be delivered prior to funding that contract, and then they have X amount of days to secure a title for you. And it's the same in that state. That clock starts after the delivery day. In other states like Washington, that they can get that loan funded within 24 hours of you signing the contract, as long as everything is in order with that RV and it passes the inspection. Then they can go ahead and get that loan funded, get their money, and that dealer would pay off that RV if they have it financed, or if it's paid cash, then they would just transfer the title over to you. If it's funded by a bank, they'll pay off the bank for that RV themselves for you if you have a trade, and clear that title for you if you trade in an RV that they're paying off. So again, keep that in mind when you're purchasing an RV, that is a urban myth in some states that you have a 3-day right of refusal. So if you do agree to purchase an RV, just make sure you know the laws that govern you. So TVJ also says, I bought an extended warranty on my wife's car and the radio died 100 miles before it was up. It saved us $3,000. So yeah, I mean, Keith, do you buy extended warranties? Yeah, on some things I do and other things I don't, just depending on my ability and my funds that I have to take care of it. So I don't have a warranty on any of the things here in my studio. So if this camera goes out, I'll have to pay to have it fixed. I'll have to use that B camera if it does go out. So keep that in mind. So, okay, I wanted to get onto this drone flight. So let me clear this. If you have any more questions about RVs, let me know in the chat. ask me next week in 2 weeks when we have the post show, and I'll try to answer those questions. If you have any more tonight, I will look at those questions. But let's get into this macro I created tonight, and let me roll this drone flight. So this is a supervised drone flight of a Maverick Mini 3 Pro, and it's under 249 grams. And so I flew it up over the sail and back down again. You're only going to see me coming down, but this is actually that flight. So let me roll this macro. So this is actually video. And I have Jeremy Obrian helping me. And you can see cars going by. This is a front of Barnes & Noble's at the Columbia Center Mall. And the trivia about that mall is when this mall was being built years and years ago, the contractor hired my mom as his secretary. So she was actually very close to this location in a single wide construction trailer way back. Sorry, I hit the mic, when this mall was being created. So, going to continue letting this go. I'm trying to position this for a photograph, but this is actually the Maverick Mini 3 Pro that Jeremy Obrian owns, and he gave me permission to fly it. So we're positioning it for the landing right now, and I'm learning how to use the different controls, and you're going to see us coming down. You can see the tent there on the kind of the catty corner to the left. Those two trailers on the street are the manager's trailer, then the finance trailer, and then there's another finance trailer. I'm standing right behind this toy hauler. We stopped right here to just get some final instructions. And that's Jeremy on the bottom of the screen, and that's me on the top of the screen. And we're going to get very close here. That's Jeremy Prock, my friend who's the CFO. He's watching all of this. He's coming over for dinner tonight. And here we go. And you saw Jeremy Prock is going to take over the controls here and help me get in a better position for my final landing. That's Jeremy now just coming into frame. And so this is my maiden voyage. I wanted to change the camera angle to let you guys see the RVs inside the back of that trailer. So we reposition the camera. We're letting it hover here for a few seconds, and then we're going to have it land now. And obviously, you usually have the camera in the down position if you're shooting down, but now this is in the traditional position. And at some moment here, this video ends, and that's the end of that little video shot. So that's the maiden voyage with that drone. Now, I have a video here. I did a quick interview with Jeremy Obrian, and I think this will play. So let me do this, see if I can get it ready here. Turn audio on. See, this is going to come into channel 3. So let me go into channel 3. You see if I have any audio here. No audio. Let me enable audio here on channel 3. On. See if I get any audio. Not sure. Let me go one more times here. It does not see my pro. That's not going to help me. Man, I may not be able to show you this video. I could not get it to come off of my phone. I tried for about 45 minutes to get this video off my phone. I shot it in Filmic Pro today using my DJI mic kit. And I may have to show you guys this video at a later date. Or post this interview on my channel. But I interviewed Jeremy about the drone, and I'm just not getting any audio from that channel. Let me cut to that channel just so you guys can see that there really is a video playing here. Yeah, I'm just not getting any feed of audio from the phone. So let me pause that. Let me take it out here. Cut back. Let me see if I could actually untether. Oh, please stand by. See if I can do the only other way I could play this video. Make sure my crotch isn't hanging out. Hi, world. Right. So let's see. How do I want to open this? Well, I'm really excited because I get to be here at a dealership. This is an RV dealership. We're going to be talking about that tonight. But right now, I want to introduce the master of ceremonies tonight, and that's Jeremy Obrian. You are my pilot mentor, right?
I'd say that. I'm just, Padawan learner, right? With the
I've never flown a drone. I actually held the control a few years ago and then just handed it right back to my son-in-law because I was scared to death. And he wrecked his drone that day. And so since that day, I've never really wanted to fly a drone, but you love drones, you fly drones, and you even have a handle.
Yeah, so I'm Jeremy Obrian, Skyskater, FPV. So I've been flying with multi-GP, so I've competed in a few drone races, and then also do a lot of hobby flights. And I do everything from the little micro guys to the obviously the nice cinematic stuff that you've seen. So
have you met anybody like me that is that intimidated flying a drone?
Most people are. As a matter of fact, it's not an easy thing, right? It's an unnatural act to, right, fly a remote control thing, but it's something at the end of the day, at least for me, I've dreamed about that since I was a kid, right? I was the G.I. Joe, Mask, Transformers, who wouldn't want to be the pilot and get a bird's eye view of what's out there, so.
Well, the other thing I found out that you and I have something else in common. We're both Batman fans.
Absolutely.
And so that'll be for another conversation. We'll probably have to break out some of our Batman stuff. But so you taught me how to fly what kind of drone?
So what you flew was the newest DJI Mini 3 Pro. So it's a DJI product, relatively fun and safe to fly. This is the newest version, so it's got the sensors in the front and in the rear and below. So at least, I don't want to say it's foolproof, but the chances of you messing it up have now been drastically decreased.
So describe what it was like watching me. Now you set it up. You took me through the whole process, but describe to me what that was like from your perspective, because I can tell you what it was like from mine.
I tell you, it's almost like if you ever seen somebody ride a horse for the first time, right? And they get up on that saddle, and you just like put your leg over, and it's like you're putting on the strap, and you're like, hey, hold it in your hands, and you're like, and just kind of the reality kind of set in. And I thought it was cool as I love to live, through other people and through their experiences. And if they're having fun, then I'm having fun. I'm always then, and I don't know, Keith, I only know you for a little bit, but I will say that I'm pretty sure you were having fun that day.
I had a blast. I got to tell you, though, so I have had a lot of people try to teach me things, and I didn't learn anything. I've had people and mentors in my life, and one of the things I'm going to talk about tonight on the live stream when we're back live with me, because this is the pre-recorded me and you, but you did a great job mentoring me. So, I mean, the steps that you took me through, I felt relaxed, and I can honestly say I probably wouldn't have gone through with the flight if I didn't feel like you made me feel comfortable. So I don't know how else to describe that, but thank you. So,
absolutely.
So there was a moment in my flight, right? It was like the landing time. So talk real quick about what that was like for you as I was bringing your drone back down. And we're actually at an RV show.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're an RV sales, I'm not sales manager, actually the general manager.
Sure.
At Click It RV, and you have the logo on, so shout out to Click It RV. And we're going to talk a little bit tonight about purchasing RVs as well, because they asked me that question, so we're going to talk about that. But so we were at a show, and we flew over your RVs.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I will say that you were still very confident. You were, I think you took it all the way up, and that was the cool thing. It's like, wait, how much higher can I go? It's like, well, according to this, you still got another 320, 340, 360, and yeah, you got that nice under 249, ultralight.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
249 grams. So
technically, I'm legal.
You're totally fine.
And there's actually a heavier battery that you can get for that drone, but I wasn't using that.
No. You were using the lightweight guy. We started you with the
Right. Plus, I had a supervisor right next to me. You guys will see shortly in the clip. But talk about that landing.
Oh yeah, no, it was great. You did great, actually. You're coming down, you're coming in nice, and then you had that 90 degrees straight down,
right.
And so those are always a little bit harder to kind of come in. And then you came in, and then somebody else was coming into the picture, and I think they were more scared than you were because they just kind of. But you did well, and. Yeah, impressive, because some people, they would have either let go of the controller altogether or just made some kind of weird things, and you didn't. You stayed calm and collective.
I didn't want to break your drone. I've seen them crash before. So the last thing, I guess you were talking about me flying really high, and the reason I was getting up there is I was looking for that typical photographer perfect shot.
Oh, yeah.
So we would have a record of what the RVs look like from almost, like, I guess we were like, what, 379?
You read it up at 382.
382.
382.
So I was 382 feet. Now, last thing I wanted to say about this, you also fly another drone that has the whole completely, you're inside a mask and you can see it. Is that better than the way I was flying it? Because I didn't want to look up at the drone. I wanted to watch the screen.
Sure, it's a different perspective. It's crazy, right? They told us as kids, hey, don't sit so close to the TV. You're a little blind. Now we're wearing headsets that are doing this, right? Where the screens are literally right in front of our face. So quite a change. But yeah, it's for me, it's exhilarating to fly what they call FPV, and that's really what kind of got me into doing this. And then it's a different set. You're doing 50 to 100 miles an hour in some of those things, and trying to fly through trees and fly through stuff, and knowing you're going to bang stuff up versus, I don't want to hit this guy, right?
I actually saw you. You showed me footage of you actually putting a drone in the drink.
Oh yeah, no, put it in the river. That was funny. Yeah.
So that's kind
nice
of
little
amazing.
fail-safe.
Yeah. So I guess at some point I'll have to try the mask, right?
Oh yeah.
But I wanted to start with baby steps. So let me just say this too. Actually, Jeremy and Click It RV is one of my clients, but I talk about building relationships on my channel as well, and I also talk about how important people are. The people really are the asset, and I think it's really cool that you and I, because they want me to get a drone. I'm thinking about getting a drone, but it's cool that you and I have this whole videography, photography thing in common, and then we also have the Batman thing in common, because I think having those things as well as business relationships, to me, I think is like the trifecta, even though that's only two
of the
but
three.
we'll put Batman in there, give
Sure.
you the three.
No, absolutely.
We're Batman fans. So anything else you'd like to say to them about
we have that other one major common belief as well.
Yes, we do.
Common. So I think that would make the trifecta, and that would be the perfect chord to our three strings.
Which in reality,
is the number one.
You were probably praying as I was flying your drone. So cool. Well, Jeremy, thank you so much for being willing to do this pre-interview. I know you're really busy trying to get all the RVs back in your lot. We've got salespeople that you're taking care of, so thank you for taking the time.
Thanks for having me on here.
And thank you for giving me the privilege to work with you as a client, because I mean that genuinely. And hopefully we'll have you on the show again, and we can look at some of those, what are they called? The
racing drones.
The racing drones.
The racing
that would
drones.
be cool. Could you actually fly that drone in my little 10 by 10 studio?
I can get the micro ones, absolutely. Cool. We'll do like we did in the Riverstone.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
And I'll show you guys a clip in weeks to come of that Riverstone where he flew a drone right into a fifth wheel. So anyway.
It's only a $100,000 fifth wheel, no big deal.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, well, thank you so much. We'll go back to the studio with the other Keith. And again, thanks for being on with me tonight, Jeremy.
Thanks for having me.
All
right, Keith.
Good job. Thank you. We're done. That's a wrap. Hopefully I got it.
First cut.
Okay, thank you for your patience with that little video that I just did. Had to do it old school, holding my phone up to the screen. So, guys, unless you have anything else you want to say, I do want to tell you I had a blast flying that drone. A little intimidating, but thank you so much, Jeremy Obrian from Click It RV, Pasco, Washington. Not only for your friendship, for your open arms in working with me and me working with you. And then the things that we have in common has been really fun for me. So shout out to Jeremy if you are watching this. So takeaways tonight, RVs are for fun. Don't forget, in all of what we were talking about, the thing that we're selling is fun, right? People getting out in the outdoors with their family, making memories, seeing the United States, going into Canada. I even know people that have rented RVs from other countries here in the United States and vice versa. So it's just about getting out and enjoying this incredible planet that we live on from a different perspective. If it's in a tent or you're hiking, or you're flying over it with an airplane, or you're crossing the country in a recreational vehicle, it doesn't matter. It's all about what takes place when you're out there on the road, in the campground, around the fire, doing the hiking, swimming in the ocean and the waters, fishing, all of those things. And I have so many customers over the years, friends and family, that have had great RV experiences. And I see that's a little hot, so sorry, guys. Okay, so any final thoughts before we go here in the chat? Thank you. I have a little bit of history with the RVs. So thank you, Tony, for that little comment there. I'm glad that video is crisp because it was shot on my iPhone Pro 13, not the Max, and I took some time in Filmic Pro to get things done. I would have liked to bring it in Adobe Premiere and add just a little bit of warmth to it because I feel like when I shoot in Filmic Pro in the setting I have, it's a slightly bit flat, but you guys saw it tonight. So hopefully it worked pretty good. The DJI drones have pretty decent cameras. Yeah, they're small chips, so keep that in mind. You obviously, the bigger the chip in the camera, the better the light, the better the photograph, the better dynamic range. So many of you guys are very familiar with that. So some of these small cameras give great footage, great pictures, even high megapixels. I think he gave me a 41 megapixel still image. It's actually in my still image for tonight's live stream post show. So, but it's very tiny, but that thing was 41 megapixels. So that DJI Mini 3 Pro is a great little drone. And I may, after we get the studio all renovated, that may be my first drone. We will see. So TVJ, you have a good night. Thank you, Freddie. I appreciated him in that interview. Thank you, DJ Ware, for that compliment about the interview. You're a good interviewer. Yeah, I actually have lots of little time in my life for doing interviews. So the key is to be relaxed, be authentic, and involve the viewer as well as your guest. So you got to kind of see yourself in a three-way conversation where this is more two-way. But when I have someone in the studio, I like to make sure I make an eye contact with them and my audience. So thank you for those compliments. I had fun doing that interview. Even though I could not get it out and ready inside my Hyperdeck, you had to watch it in my phone. So thank you, Tony. I would love to do a YouTubers roundtable. If you guys ever decide to do one, that would be awesome. Yeah, the drone video was very crisp, so not the iPhone. So yeah, it is. It's very good looking footage, and I think it does a great job. Now, that was in broad daylight. I think I did that flight at about 8:45. It was before our morning meeting. I had to go do a drive with Jeremy that you saw come into the frame at the very end. So we got there. Jeremy was waiting for me. And I'll tell you a story real quickly. We'll close with this. I like to find people's passions when I'm working with them and I don't have an existing relationship with them. Because when you find out what someone's passion is, and if it's something you have in common, I learned this in sales, you have what they call common ground. And you can get work done a lot easier with people you have common ground with. And so Jeremy's love of drones, I discovered right away. He had like 5 drones in his office. He flies in the morning before work because he does lots of time at that dealership. And so it was the video side and the photography side and his passion that I had common ground with, even though I didn't own a drone. And then later on, I found out that he is a 1989 Batman fan, and I may have just found something for him. And this drone flight was him reciprocating. I had been asking for quite a few weeks, since June, for him to teach me how to fly his drone. And after, like, the day before or 2 days before, I provided something to him just to let him know that we had this commonality. And he immediately started asking me about, if he got me a little drone, would I want a Batman drone? Obviously it'd be like a toy drone. And I said, yeah, anything I could put on the shelf would be cool. It doesn't even have to fly. It'd just be a great shelf piece. But instead of that, he blessed me with this drone flight in front of everybody, man. He did this training literally in front of the whole tent, was filled with our whole team and our staff as I was flying. And then also just the interview he did today. And I told him today, I was driving back and stopped at the gas station, that I so appreciated it, that his reciprocation to our relationship was spot on, A++. His interview was A++, and my friendship with him is becoming just a great, great joy, and so glad that I was able to be working with them. Not just him, there's lots of other people at the dealership that I've fallen in love with, just loving these people and trying to figure out what happens after August 15th. Okay, well, it's late. You guys want to go to bed? I need to go make dinner. Thank you so much for joining me in the post show. I am Keith Bennett. Thank you for subscribing. If you have not subscribed yet, I appreciate that. And if you can't chat, you would be able to chat as a subscriber, or 5 minutes after you subscribe. And once you subscribe, you can chat in every one of these live streams. So that's RV purchasing. That's drone flight 101 from me, and a little information from a guy who has his pilot license, as well as his passion for drones, at least his drone flying license. And he does all the commercial drone footage for us there at that particular Click It RV store. Thanks to Click It RV for their support, and Jeremy's support and willingness to share that footage with you guys tonight, and his drone. So thank you. Have a great week. I will see you next week for just our live show. And we have some great things to talk about next week that I didn't cover today. So thank you so much. With that, I'm going to roll the outro, and I will see you again, hopefully very, very soon. I'm Keith. This is Life Journey Production Studios, and we're going off the air. Be safe.